Welcome back to this week's episode of Mining the Comments. Today, we'll discuss why being exhausted doesn't always lead to restful sleep. Today's question comes from Jaxon. Jaxon writes, "It feels like every day I'm feeling exhausted, and at night I would assume after all this exhaustion would come a good night's sleep, and it never does. It's horrible. It's a horrible cycle I can't leave. I have homework from school, and I feel so exhausted to even attempt it." Well, Jackson, to start off, I'm sorry to hear that you're struggling. Insomnia certainly can be very difficult, especially when there's responsibilities and things that we have to do. I mean, all of us do, but in this case, right, you're going to school, and there's this pressure to be able to perform and get these things accomplished, like your homework. But if we think about this, if we back up a little bit and go to this time pre-insomnia, where let's say you had a busy day, whatever that looked like. Let's say it was a physically demanding or mentally difficult, for whatever reason, or emotionally difficult, whatever it was. At the end of the day, we'd all would feel super tired and we would tend to fall asleep really well. But that was pre-insomnia. Now, with insomnia, what's happened is we are dealing with this hyperarousal, this brain of ours that is there to keep us safe and protect us has been triggered or turned on and is perceiving wakefulness as a threat. And the more we try to make sleep happen, the harder it is, the more it tends to elude us. And so with this hyperarousal, now, even though if we have a crazy long day, whether it's physically demanding, emotionally, mentally demanding, whatever the case may be, we tend to still struggle with sleep. And so it would make sense that it's confusing that after even being really tired, that we're still unable to fall asleep. I remember when I was struggling in the beginning, a lot of the suggestions were, well, maybe you just need to go out there and get really tired. Just go out there and work out or run or walk or, I don't know, do anything physically and demanding. And I remember doing that. And I remember becoming very, very tired and I was physically exhausted. And I would lay down or sit on the couch and still just be wide awake, just completely alert. And so it can be super frustrating for you to be dealing with this and going through this right now. But what does Daniel talk about? Number one, the first thing that we can do to help ourselves is information. Once we have knowledge and understanding of what's going on, that is initially the first step, and it can help us to figure out our way out of this struggle. So what is happening, Jackson, is you are dealing with this hyperarousal. It's, in other words, it's pretty much like this fight or flight state that you're in. So regardless of how tired you feel, there's this mechanism that is still keeping you awake and alert, tracking and monitoring the environment because it doesn't feel safe. So it is a perceived threat. It is not real. It's just like if there's a bear in your room, you definitely wouldn't feel comfortable or feel calm. But there isn't a bear. It's just your mind is sensing this danger or this threat. So when we're dealing with this hyperarousal, what can we do? Well, the idea is to start to show our brain that the fear and the threat is perceived. And we need to go from perceived to real, meaning that if this is a perceived threat, how can we ground ourselves and start allowing ourselves to see that whatever is perceived isn't real? And how can we ground ourselves in a way to see that we are actually safe at the moment? So, Jackson, I'm sure you've heard of Befriending Wakefulness. We've discussed this on many videos. I know Daniel's discussed it, but let's touch on that again. This idea of befriending wakefulness is confronting this fear of wakefulness and retraining the brain to see that we are safe. So if you are, what was it? Second part of your question. It says, I have homework from school and I feel so exhausted to even attempt it. So let me come up with a couple of suggestions. Imagine if you had a really long day. Sounds like you already have. what would a normal, right, pre-insomnia person do? They would rest. They would rest. And in this case, without the expectations of trying to make sleep happen, because that tends to create more monitoring, more tracking. So what if we took some time, 20, 30 minutes, maybe set an alarm, and just laid down? It doesn't have to be in bed. It could be on a couch. It could be outside. It could be anywhere. Just to rest for about 30 minutes. And then maybe go forward and attempt to accomplish whatever work we need, whether it's schoolwork or anything else. But in your case, schoolwork. What if we sat down and recognized that all this feeling of exhaustion is this hyperarousal? If we were in a constant state of hyperarousal, of course, after an extended period of time, we're going to be emotionally exhausted. We'll be physically exhausted. So understand that these feelings are there because we've been dealing with intense amount of fear, this fight or flight response. And what if we started doing the best we can, but instead of comparing ourselves to how we were doing our homework pre-insomnia, what if we were a little bit more gentle and kind with ourselves? For example, I remember when, once again, I was going through this, and I worked at, my wife and I own a small, like a retail shop, and we do a lot of online orders. And I remember when I was going through insomnia, it was very difficult for me to have the same space, the same pace, or I was unable to be as productive as I was in the past. And there was a lot of judgment and criticism. But what if we were kind with ourselves? And in your case, Jackson, what if you were patient with yourself and realized that maybe you can't go at the same speed to accomplish things, but maybe we can slow things down. Maybe we can go at a lower pace and just take things into small chunks and see what we can do. Maybe we can spend 30 minutes working on something and maybe taking a break or something. But maybe we can start taking these little small chunks and using that time to not only see that we are capable of doing something, but maybe if we break it down into smaller pieces, we can accomplish these things. It might take us longer, but we can still see that we are moving forward and doing it. Now, if we stop to not even attempt or try to do things that we need to do, it reinforces to our brain that what's going on is even more serious. It's more intense. The fear increases, the symptoms increase, and now we're even in a much deeper hole than we were in before. And so if we can start moving in a position where even though we're feeling tired, we're feeling fatigued, we're feeling exhausted, still keep moving forward and making these attempts at accomplishing the things that we need to, but now do it with this added kindness and compassion. Now, I understand that this is difficult because I went through this, and the difference is even though I moved at a much slower rate, lower pace, and I couldn't accomplish as much, the fact that I was doing it certainly gave me a sense of accomplishment. But I also noticed how important it was that when I added this self-kindness and gentleness, it really made the day a little bit lighter. Really, it would help lighten things. So I would certainly say continue to do the things that you need to and recognize that so much of this is this hyperarousal, this perceived threat, this danger. And when we're dealing with perceived threat and dangers, symptoms come. And as the symptoms come, it can reinforce to our brain that there is something seriously wrong. But if we look at these symptoms and understand that this is coming from fear and hyperarousal, and we can still move forward and accomplish things, we can start to see that we can still be quite capable of doing things. The reason why I feel confidence in saying this is because that's the journey, and that was my experience. That was what my journey looked like. And the more I started doing things, and not, I want to say making myself, but allowing myself to just do things at smaller chunks, I started moving and working through this difficult time and out of this insomnia. And in our program, we encourage everyone that is struggling to continue to live and do things that they need to. Because the more you pause, the more you stop, the more you take a break on things, you'll notice that you're going to fill that time up in your mind with thoughts and feelings of insomnia, with feelings of dread and catastrophizing. And the more we do that, the heavier things get. So just keep moving forward. Just keep doing the very best that you can. And know as you continue to live and do whatever you can with gentleness, with kindness, and information of understanding that this is really a perceived threat, not a real danger. The more you focus on living your life and spending time on doing things that you enjoy, it's going to be difficult, but this is the way through insomnia. This is your way out of this. And the fatigue and the symptoms will start to fade with time. I would also like to add one last thing, Jackson, is on the especially difficult days, on the hard days, what I noticed was I felt very, very vulnerable, very fragile, very sensitive, and I wanted to somehow comfort and support myself. And I didn't know necessarily how to do that. So I started thinking about, what if there was some kind of a reward system that I gave myself on those especially difficult days? So let's say we have a streak of a couple of days when we're feeling pretty good and things are fine. Great. And then let's say all of a sudden we have our next, couple of days or so that are very difficult, that are heavy, that are hard. Let's say we're up all night and the alarm went off and now we had to get up and we had these responsibilities, right? We got a chance to maybe reframe things and think, something was a really tough day. What would I do to comfort myself? And I'm certainly a sucker for ice cream. And so on those difficult days, what I would do, and I wouldn't take a long time because I still had to go to work and do other things, but I'd maybe get like a little bit of ice cream, and I would go to the park and I would sit in the park. Sometimes I'd take my dogs we'd hang out there, and I just sit in the park and eat some ice cream. And to me, that was a really special treat for me. And so on those days, if you can find a way to reward yourself when things are heavy and feeling difficult, trust me, this is going to take a little time. But when you have these difficult days, a part of you, your mind is going to think, oh no, I understand we had a difficult night, but I get to treat myself. I get to give myself some kind of a reward that I only give myself when I'm having a difficult day. And so the brain can also start moving and shifting from feeling this heaviness, this pain, this difficulty, this depression, this exhaustion, and also think of it as, even though I am struggling, there is a reward system. And for me, I'm not saying ice cream, but whatever it is that, a guilty pleasure or something that you would only do to be kind and supportive with yourself is also very, very helpful. I don't want to say that we're going to trick the brain because it knows what we're doing. But if we provided ourselves a level of reward system on those difficult days, the brain can actually start looking forward to this as well. And so even if we have some difficulty, we can look forward to this little reward system. Someone that I speak with, when they have a difficult night, they reward themselves in the morning. I don't know, remember if it was French toast or pancakes with whipped cream and all this other stuff. And so those difficult nights and those difficult mornings didn't seem so difficult because there was a special treat waiting for them when things were especially heavy that day. So, Jackson, I hope this was helpful. Again, I'm sorry that you are struggling, but know that there is a way out of it. I've been able to get through this journey by using the teachings from Daniel, and I've seen many people that I've worked with work their way through this difficult time as well. So be hopeful. Recognize that you are in a difficult spot right now, but this will pass. That's all for this week. Take care of yourselves. Be patient. Be kind with yourselves. We'll talk to you soon.
Hi, it's me, Daniel, and I hope you found incredible value in the video you just watched. If you did, please share it with the world, like it, comment, because this way more people can find their way to peaceful sleep. Now, if you like learning by reading and you feel like you have a little ways to go, then head over to Amazon and check out set it and forget it. It is a very easy book to read. It is flowy, it has illustrations. But if you're looking for some deeper understanding, then this is maybe the one for you. I hope they really help. Thank you for being here, and thank you for helping.